These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. I hope your boots will walk away on this Walk Away Wednesday, too. Yeah. I know, I'm a crazy woman, and I welcome you in to Free to Just Be, the podcast where I have been sharing my awakening dance of transformation for about 3.5 years now. And I am Teresa Marie, the traveling ambassador of Chi, and I welcome you to today's Walk Away Wednesday show. And as you can tell, yes, these are my actual boots. And you can tell I am not a girly girl. and those are a pair of my favorite boots that I wear out in the garden. And I'm resurrecting once again the Walk Away Wednesday series. So when I first started this podcast, I used to do Open Your Mind Monday, which I may go back to as well, and Walk Away Wednesday. And I think I even did a Freaky Friday, and we talked about the freaky things that are happening on the planet. But I am going back to Walk Away Wednesday, and today I want to share some stuff about what happens as you evolve in regards to walking away. And before I dive into today's content, I just want to ask that if I am resonating with y'all, if I'm beginning to inspire or uh, resurrect your own curiosity, or if you just think that I am just one weird woman and that's why you're listening, I would appreciate it so much if you hit the like button and if you subscribe on my YouTube channel, because when I hit a certain amount of subscribers, then I can start going live all the time. And I would really appreciate it. I know that time is valuable. It's our greatest commodity. So if you're giving me some of your attention, thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate you. And, you know, most content creators really do appreciate it when we comment. And this last week, I was so incredibly encouraged by numerous comments that I'm receiving on some of my content. You know, we don't even think about the fact that somebody sits before a microphone or a camera. They've thought about what they're going to put on their channels. And, well, maybe. I mean, if you're like me, you just wait until the spirit just downloads something into you and says, go, and then you go. So either way, it really, really does help a creator when you comment and get involved with their content. So thank you. Thank you for doing so. Yes. And share it with others. That way the algorithm rises and we can connect with more people. So today I'm going to put on my reading glasses because there are some quotes that I'm going to share today as well. And I want to be able to see them. Recently I went to the eye doctor and he told me, you don't need glasses, Teresa. You have 20/20, actually better than 20/20 vision. And that bugged me for about 3 or 4 days because I'm like, I'm still wearing readers. These are magnifiers that, you get at any drugstore. And I checked with the Dr. Hasty again, and he's like, no, it's for distance, and you have better than 20/20 for distance, which, by the way, I used to wear glasses all the time. And I think it's several reasons. And the scientific world might disagree with me, but, I use castor oil on my skin every single day. And when I put it on my face, I rub it right on my eyelids. And I believe that little practice and sun gazing, for years and years, I was told that I'm very blue eyed, and I was told that I was light sensitive. And so therefore, we advise that you wear the darkest sunglasses possible. So for most of my life, I did that. In fact, I wore mirrored sunglasses so that people couldn't see my eyes. And I think back on that and I just think how ridiculous that does. And for the last several years, I haven't worn sunglasses at all. Even when I lived in Florida, I didn't wear sunglasses. And I do believe that that sun activated something within my eyes, because now all of a sudden I don't even need any kind of prescription glasses. And for those of you that are, in my age bracket, I'm 65. You would think that I would need stronger glasses. So kudos to the holistic practices that we are incorporating in our life. So today I want to talk about what it's like as you begin to walk away from more and more programs. So, you know, as you're stepping away from your old way of being and you begin to anchor in to these new ways, whether it's you're leaving the loop-de-loops of your mind. I talk about the cul-de-sacs and the negative self-talk that we hear over and over again. Maybe you've walked away from that, or maybe you've walked away from people pleasing, or you've walked away from a job like I have, or you've walked away from a relationship. All of those things cause you to now be walking differently in your life. And today I want to talk about the aspect of others walking away. And it's not like a literal see ya and they turn around and slam the door and walk away, although sometimes that does occur. I'm talking about how there's this subtle shift in your circle of influence. And it may even be family members that suddenly are not vibing with who you are anymore. They might not like who you are anymore. They may be holding on to a version of yourself that isn't even you any longer. And so you find that people have distanced themselves, or maybe they don't call as much. And it kind of hits you. It kind of makes you loop back into, well, what's going on? What's wrong with me? Am I like chopped liver all of a sudden, And then the mind loops begin, and you begin questioning and doubting the you that you're becoming. And I just want to encourage those out there that are at that stage in their transformation dance where they may feel like they're dancing completely by themselves. And I want to let you know that this is very, very normal. And you need to expect that it's going to happen, because you're not going to walk alongside the same people in your entire life. And of course, the quote person that I am, I had to look up quotes about walking away. And I want to share some of them and expound on some of those quotes. So, well, before that, I want to tell you that in my own life, I can only share what I have experienced. And so it's as if for me, I spent a good 85% of my life up to date walking against this incredibly mighty wind, right? All my life, like, oh, the wind. And I had to like push myself to go forward, and everything in life seemed to be a resistance, because for a lot of my life, I was walking in this mask, in this earth suit that really wasn't me. It was what the world expected me to be, but it wasn't truly me. So it was constantly, it was like I was moving along against the flow, right? And now the wind is gone, and I feel like I can't walk right anymore. Is anybody feeling that? Is anybody feeling that you almost feel like wobbly? It's like, well, where's the resistance? I'm so used to walking forward and pushing and and like trying to get through this wall of resistance. And now the resistance is gone. And there's so much in my life, especially in the last couple of months since I've been home, that frankly, my nervous system is like, what the heck? What the heck is going on? Why is everything easy? Why is everything clicking? I'm not used to this, and it it it's kind of unsettling, and it's something that you have to get used to. It's kind of like in past episodes, I've talked about how certain programs and ways of being really became habitual in our lives, and it's kind of like if you take the wagon wheel analogy, you know the wagon is going around and around and around. And so the wheels have formed a rut in the dirt, right? And the rut gets pretty deep. And so if you want to get out of that matrix merry-go-round, you have to be able to lift yourself up out of the rut. And there are all aspects of that. So, at first you're just trying to get out of that hole, right? And it's the most uncomfortable stage. And then you kind of get up and the rut's down here and you have kind of come up to the surface, and you have days where you're like, wow, this is new. And then suddenly you feel like you're in the rut. And then you have some days where you're like above the rut, right? And then you kind of settle in and you're up here. And then you begin a new way completely, and you're on a completely different timeline. And these are all stages of this dance of transformation that we find ourselves on the planet. And many, many people are not even aware that this energetic shift is happening, and it's propelling, it's pushing us forward at this exponential rate that we're not used to, because we're in the year of the fire horse. So it's like, charge, full speed ahead. And some of us are feeling like we're holding on to the mane of the horse and we're riding horseback and we're galloping, and it's really uncomfortable. Well, in the midst of this major change, there are those that have known you your whole life. And maybe they have been with you through some of the most tumultuous days of unconsciousness that you lived in a big part of your life. So you had this earth suit on that didn't fit you, and you were trying to fit in, and the people around you were, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to kick my camera stand. And the people that were around you, maybe family, friends, close friends, acquaintances, people that you worked with, and they were doing just that. They were fitting in, they were wearing their earth suit, and now you are at some stage of stepping out of that old costume, and you're revealing the true you. And the true you isn't the same person. And so some people in your life still think of you as, like, for example, I am fully embodying Teresa Marie, the traveling ambassador of Chi. And that person, the true me, is really enjoying life right now. My Release and Revive moving meditation classes are growing. I've never had a hard time speaking on my podcast, and now I'm feeling more and more comfortable before the camera, although it's weird to look at yourself talking. But I, I've never really cared how I looked. I've shared many times that the only time I cared is when I was around people that cared about it. and and even that's going away. It's like, well, you don't like the way I look, you know, oh well, that's yours to deal with because I'm perfectly happy in my skin, right? So now you have people in your life. And look, I'm going to take you right to Jesus. What did it say in the word? The very people in the town that he grew up in, right, are saying, "What? Jesus? We know Jesus, what about him? He's the carpenter's son." So the very people that he lived near growing up his whole life were like incredulous. Like, who the heck are you to teach us anything, right? And so I want us to get comfortable with that uncomfortable and that sadness that wants to just creep in and suck you in. And believe you me, I have a lot of experience with that. Right now, I have many of our 7 children that have kept a distance. And I understand that completely. You see, years ago, I had to sit with the truth that it wasn't my mom or dad's fault that I was so screwed up. I did that to myself. And for many years, for example, blamed my dad because I never heard my dad say, "I love you." He never said that to me. And when I was 13, he left the planet. He passed away. And I was so angry because all of my attempts to get my dad's attention, I just wanted to hear him say it once. And it wasn't that he didn't love me. It was that he was brought up in that non-demonstrative generation. And as an adult and as a parent, I know in my heart of hearts that my dad loved me. But man, that screwed me up for a lot of years. And I wanted to blame him. But no, it was my response to my dad that screwed me up. So now I have grown ass adult children that maybe, now I don't know because this is their walk. And I also was the mom that wanted to uh, tell them how to live their life. I wanted to shove down their throat when I was walking through, my newsreel days. I spent 8 years looking at the news, which really was my huge wake up call 12 or 15 years ago as to how much I was lied to, right? When you start following the money, when you start looking at the news, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going that route tonight. But when I was in the midst of that, oh man, any opportunity that came up, because you see, I wanted my kids to awaken, but that's not my job. My job is not to help anybody else awaken. Nobody can awaken for you. You are on your own there. Now, of course, there are people that you might listen to, like you're listening to me tonight, and there are books you'll read and experiences that you'll have. But this is a very common tendency as well on the awakening dance of transformation. When you discover a truth, instead of wanting to apply it and anchor it into your own system, the first thing that we want to do is we want to tell others. We want to jump out ahead and say, "Hey, did you know this?" And that often alienates people from our life. And sometimes it's just because they are not at the place where you are yet, and they're not ready to receive it. And again, I want to reiterate that they may be clinging to a version of you that you're not even that version anymore. And that really is kind of disheartening and frustrating. And I'm going to tell you verbatim, it's so hard to finally have your life going in the direction that you've always wanted it to go. I am so excited that my passion to help humanity is taking traction, and people are connecting, and I have this growing community of people that are awake and wanting to transform their life, and are loving my Release and Revive moving meditation, and are growing like weeds. And this community is growing, and I'm meeting more and more people that are in this dance of transformation and are wanting to meet up with others. And so it's very exciting. And so it makes you sad when your own children are turned off by that, or for whatever reason, kind of distant. So I want to encourage parents and grandparents to hold on and to just continue to love them from a distance, pray for them, and just know that it's not you. And if it is you, it's for a season. And maybe the truth of the matter is, for whatever reason, maybe even your children have to walk away from you, maybe even forever. And we have to get used to that fact, because frequency is frequency. And not everybody is going to be at the frequency that you are at any given moment. And so that's a hard call for a Walkaway Wednesday, but I wanted to encourage you. Um, I went, I still, in fact, I still struggle about my children and my grandchildren. I'm not going to lie. It's probably the biggest pain in my heart that I deal with on a daily basis, but I have to detach. And if you haven't listened to my podcasts about detachment, you might want to listen to some of those, because detachment is very important. Um, it's it's this balance of still loving a person, but knowing that you have to quit clinging, you have to quit attaching, you have to let them go. That concept of, if you love something, you have to let them go, you have to let them breathe, you have to let them evolve into their own personal dance of transformation, right? So that's my first biggie about this Walkaway Wednesday. And then I wanted to talk about how the flip side of that, opportunity walks into our life every day in the form of people that you meet. That was a quote by Zig Ziglar. And so as you're detaching from those that maybe for whatever reason have walked out of your life, there is opportunity to allow newness and freshness and other voices to walk into your life as well. So keep that in mind, that you may be feeling so sad about your circle getting smaller. And if you would just allow yourself to be open, you'll discover a whole nother arena, a whole nother group of people in this new timeline that you now find yourself in. Um, Tim McGraw had a really good quote. He said, "We all take different paths in life, but no matter where we go, we take a little of each other everywhere." Isn't that awesome? It's the ripple effect. You know, maybe something I say tonight, you'll take with you. And maybe you have bits and pieces of your parents and your siblings and your children and your grandchildren. And what a beautiful tapestry we all make together, isn't it? What else? We're all walking the same path toward the evolution of our souls, but we wear different shoes, live on the same planet, but we have different views. And isn't that the beauty of it? You know, we are all walking out of that program of herd mentality and groupthink. And Sometimes we're so adamant that we don't want groupthink and we want to think for ourselves. And we're all on this high horse about doing that until we recognize that somebody that we love isn't walking in that same path, or they're wearing different shoes, or they have different views. And therein is the respond and react part of the journey. Are you going to love people just the way they are? I mean, dude, we want people to love us just the way we are, right? As we zip out of that programmed way of being and gently and kind of cautiously step out and start speaking and being and dressing and doing and being who we really are, don't we want people to accept and love us right there? Well, dang, man. Then why don't we do that to other people? Teresa Marie. I'm pointing those chubby fingers back at me. Mayhaps I haven't accepted decisions or ways of being that my children or grandchildren were in years ago. And that has caused them to just go, you know what? Maybe I don't want to show them, my husband and I, who we are anymore. Maybe they don't feel safe in our space. Ooh, that's a painful revelation about yourself that you have to reckon with, because that's part of it as well. Couple more before I close. Robert Baden-Powell had a quote along those same lines when he said, "No one can pass through life any more than he can pass through a bit of country without leaving tracks behind. And those tracks may often be helpful to those coming after him in finding their way." Thus, this podcast, Free to Just Be. I share what I am going through on my dance of transformation in the hopes that somebody will find a little nugget of truth that helps them. Just like I listened to Lori Ladd for years, or Michael Del Rocco of Everyday Lives, and their little nuggets of truth help me in my dance of transformation. What are you going to do today or tomorrow that will help ripple into somebody else's life? I mean, when you look at the dance of transformation in different lenses, I mean, think about it. Think about the shite that you're going through right now. Okay, so you're in the dark night of the soul, but pause for a moment. Sila, pause and ponder that aspect of this transformation. You're in that dark night of the soul. But baby, maybe a month or a year or whatever time frame goes by, your dark night of the soul could be the story that's told that helps somebody else. So then suddenly that dark night of the soul, even though you're in a fetal position right now, could be the opening for somebody else's heart, right? So everything has value and everything has an effect on another person. So take courage, keep walking. What else? Samuel Jackson said, not Samuel Jackson, Samuel Johnson said, "The world is like a grand staircase. Some are going up and some are going down." That is the epitome of the dance of transformation, right? And paths are made for walking. We have before us these different pathways every single day. Every single day is a free will choice. And each choice, sometimes you stand there and you're at a crossroads and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know which way to go. But eventually, you have to take a step. And, you'll discover one or two steps in if it was the right or the wrong way to go. There is an effect for every choice that you make. But the way you cause your most suffering, yes, we cause a lot of our own suffering. How? By staying right here. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to stay right here. Being stuck is the biggest place of suffering. So if you're in that stuck place, maybe consider just putting a little toe forward, right? A walk away Wednesday would be a great opportunity to think about that. Yeah. And then let's see. Oh, I love this one by Hope Solo. There are so many different walks of life, so many different personalities in the world. And no longer do you and I have to be a chameleon and try to adapt to everybody else's environment. We can truly be ourselves. And obviously, if you're listening to a podcast called Free to Just Be, you want to be yourself. And maybe my episodes are helping you do that. I sure hope so. And if I am helping you, smash the like button for me, please. I would be so grateful because unfortunately, as much as I hate the internet and all this tech garbage, it's where human beings are. It's like the highway into different communities, and the algorithms base it. The more likes, the more people get to view it. The less likes, the less people get to view. So smash the like button for me tonight. I would so appreciate it. And I want to close. Well, Ram Dass also has one of my favorite quotes. He said, "We're all just walking each other home." And where is home, Humanityville? It's right here inside in our heart chakra where our God spark lives. And you and I are pulling away the veils of unconsciousness, moving. Well, first, we're identifying and recognizing all the program ways, all the false beliefs. And as we move those away, we become more and more like who we were always meant to be. The hands, the feet, the mouth, the shine of God. And it's a beautiful thing. And you and I are in this together, even though we might be separated by miles or by personalities or by belief systems. And yet we're all heading back home to the spark of God that we are. And I'm going to close with a quote from my husband, Roger Wilson. He said, "You know what, babe? The world is a stage, a platform, and we all get an opportunity to stand on it. And eventually, we all leave our mark on this world." What mark are you and I leaving today? What have we walked away from that maybe has caused others to back up or walk away from us? How are we responding to that? You see, the answers to these questions help propel us along, keep us walking or dancing. Yeah, let's dance tonight. Let's dance into new ways of being. Even if we are recognizing and having to detach from people that maybe have walked away from us, or maybe we walked away from them. But no matter what, I want you to know that right now, in fact, right now, I pray, Father God and Divine Mother, I pray that every human being anywhere on the planet that they're listening, that you would touch their body and fill them with their greatest health and their most vibrant energy, that as they walk away from different programs and ways of being that doesn't resonate with them any longer, and as they reckon with people that maybe have walked away from them, and they detach a little bit more and just breathe and let people do the same, that you in the process would fill them with peace. Love you, Humanityville. Until next time, have yourself a wonder-filled Wednesday. Namaste.